Two people, okay. I'm here for that. What's up, y'all? Give me just a second. I'm doing another one of my impromptu lives, so I need to let everybody know. Let's see, how do I do this? Okay. 16 people, okay. It is love for me in these YouTube streets, huh? Give me just a second, y'all. I'm posting on my stories on Instagram and Facebook, letting my people know that I am live. Because of course I didn't pre-schedule this or give you guys any notification. 20 people, okay. I feel good about that. There's strength in numbers. All right, peace, family. I'm live, come through. What's up, what's up? Peace, family, how y'all doing? Peace, family, I'm live, come through. Okay, and then I need the link to the video. That will be good. Let's see, frequency and vibration. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm not going to hold you beautiful people for long. I just got a few things I want to get off my chest. Come on. Okay. Just letting everybody know I'm live. Peace, family. I'm live. Come through. Okay. Link. Yes. There we go. What's up to everybody in the chat room? Give me just 1 second. I need to, of course, let my membership channel know that I'm live. If I don't do that, then what am I really doing? Let's see. YouTube video. Okay. Please, family. I'm live. Come through. All right. I wanted to talk about frequency and vibration today. This is a continuity or a continuation, I should say, of the conversation we had on my live, my last live. And I got a few comments that I'm going to read as well as address. This is my last little situation at everyone. All right, cool. Post that on my membership channel. Okay. Peace. What's good? How y'all doing? Let's see who we got in the chat room. Tariq, peace. What's good? Iris Ann, you were here with me last time. Peace, Queen. I am that I am. Let's see. Kay, what's good? Serenity, UFO, peace and love, family. Chris, peace. What's good? Samantha. Let's see. Born the best. I'm here for that. Did somebody say hi, handsome? Do I look like a dude? I have my my bandana on, you know. Yeah, I ain't gonna even take that personal. Chris, what's up? Joseph, let's see. Peace and love, family. How y'all doing? What is my take on twin flames? Well, we're not gonna be talking about that today. What's up, Pop? What's up? Peace, peace from San Diego to New York City. What's good? What's up, family? So I wanted to do this topic. It's an extension of the topic that we talked about last time, and I'm not going to hold you guys for long. It's just a few things that I wanted to kind of cover because I've been saying this for some time that I think that the words frequency and vibration are used so much, and even energy, that they are kind of watered down to this point where the average person doesn't even understand what that means. And so I got a question from one of the someone who watched the video, my last video, which is up on my screen actually, which I'm going to read in just a second. But it reminded me and inspired me to do this video. And I have a couple of videos that I'm going to play about the aura and about energetic resonance. I'm going to read a couple of comments, one comment and one question. I'm going to reference the hidden messages in water, because that comment that I read last time was not actually about the morphic field. It was relative to the point that I wanted to make, but it did not emphasize the morphic field, which was actually what I was focusing on. Thank you for telling me I don't look like a dude. I know you guys probably used to females being on camera all dolled up and with a whole bunch of makeup and stuff on, but nah, I have always continuously come on camera and represented myself as myself. So yeah, this is what I look like in real time. And yeah, I got my afro going on, but then I got my do-rag on. Keep it gully in case we get any type of weird energy in the chat room, which I am not expecting, but it's all good. It's all love. I appreciate you for that. But I hope y'all know I don't have thin skin. I don't take that type of stuff personal, but I do find it funny. Anyway, so what is frequency? Well, actually, the title of this video is frequency and vibration. So we're gonna hone in on those topics. And the term frequency, vibration, morphic field, energy, resonance, and magnetic field are some of the things I'm going to be talking about today. Now, I'm saying that recognizing that literally there have been volumes and volumes of books and information that have tried to make these topics relatable to the average person. And in no way am I even trying to sort of sum all of this stuff up in one video. I'm really just going to drop tidbits of information in terms of how I see this and how I think all of these things tie in, not just in terms of, these particular titles, but our actual lives, our individual lives, the stuff that we're dealing with and going through every day. All right. So I also have some notes here that I'm going to reference, just some stuff that has been kind of, that's relative to all this stuff that we're talking about. So when I was I think in my headline news clip that I posted on my channel that had the whole Diddy situation, was talking about the Diddy situation. I believe, if I remember correctly, that I started out talking about the morphic field. Yeah, I did, because I played that clip from that guy. I started out talking about the morphic field, and the point that I was making was relating things that have a very large amount of, I hope you guys can hear my frequency music, a very high amount of energy and attention and focus being paid towards it. And so I was emphasizing the point about the Diddy situation, that this is very intentional. What did I call it? A carefully crafted spectacle is what it is, as is everything when it comes to celebrity culture, black and white. And so I was sort of leaning into, let's be mindful and conscientious as a collective of how much time and energy we're giving, not only that, but things that are leading us collectively in the wrong direction in terms of the morphic field, which I'm going to give more context in just a second. So someone asked me on my YouTube channel. Yeah, it's there. Okay, making sure. And I'm learning how to work this system, you guys. So bear with me if I make any missteps in terms of the video and the technology. But I think I have my videos and everything in place, so we should be good. So Eclipse Ducey said, I think that's how you say that, ZaZa, I don't mean no harm to sound ignorant, but can you do a video explaining frequency in small increments? So this is, I mean, I would consider this as small increments, but I'm going to touch on this topic from multiple different levels. So I'll say maybe I'm doing small increments in these different levels. And if it seems like I'm all over the place, I'm going to try to bring it back to the center, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. So just bear with me. So that was one of the topics, the question specifically that was like, yeah, I got to do this video. That was the first topic, the first question. And then I got a comment from a smart aleck who I'm sure is going to be watching, because, that's just the way these YouTube streets go. I got another comment, which is not this comment, about Francis Cress Welsing that I'm going to discuss in just a second. But this other comment, which you can see on the screen, was from Robert Tran, 8450. And normally I don't even read people's screen names, but I think you wanted my attention, so you got it. In the best way, though. It's all good. He said, I'm assuming this is a he, or maybe it's a they, them. You know how it goes. Energy, frequency, vibes, radiation, vibrational resonance, I'm assuming he meant resonance, energy stabilizer, WTF. So at this point, I don't even know if this person is being funny or not. And I said, it's vibrational resonance. What's funny? Did I say something untrue? And he says, hell yeah. He says, heal, yeah. All right. This would be so funny to me when people trying to be funny or smart alecks and don't even have their grammar and their spelling correct. If you're going to try to check me, you better at least come be grammatically correct and write in the proper terminology, because I am a writer and I do respect the art form of writing. Anyway, hell yeah. You said, was funny. Happy faces, laughy faces. It's World Science Weekend, Festival Weekend with Brian Greene. I wonder if you know the difference between what you are talking about and what the scientific renowned thinkers and innovators who explore, is that what that's supposed to say? The very edge of understanding. You know, if you want to be a smart aleck, at least, like I said, get your wording. You know what I mean? Like you are pretending you are implying that you are a highly intelligent person, obviously smarter than me, right? So at least back that up in terms of the way you represent yourself, because you and I will probably never get beyond this little back and forth. So if this is your first chance to make a first impression, you haven't really done well. So you inspired, as well as the other person who asked this question, who I always appreciate questions. And there's no such thing as a bad question or sounding ignorant and asking a question. So both of you guys, for on two totally different wavelengths, which kind of underscores the point, inspired me to do this video. You know, it's so interesting in talking about the morphic field, right? And recognizing that in the collective consciousness, right, in terms of the everyday average person, what's going on. We could look at California, LA, we could look at New York, Brooklyn, we could look at the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, we could look at Chicago, right? There is an energetic resonance in all of these places, right? That dictates the culture, that dictates the weather, that dictates the way people react and interact with one another, right? The same goes true for social media and for the internet, right? And when people say things, and even the expectations that people on the other side of the camera or on the other side of the screen or on the other side of the phone, a lot of times how people act and engage with me, and I'm very aware that a lot of times it's just to get my attention, because they'll say something half cocked, and then when I come locked and loaded, then it's a whole different story, right? But I'm saying that to say, whether it's that type of energy or whether it's just the neediness, right, and the energetic sort of reliance that comes place with this in these mediums, um, it absolutely affects the morphic field. And one perfect example of that, and I'm going to get more in context with the morphic field, but we do have my last live for context, right? Hopefully a lot of you guys saw that. The number of social media influencers who have committed suicide as of late, right? And I'm not saying that suicide is a new thing or suicide is only particular to people in the social media industry or world. But what I am saying is that for the people on the other side of the screens who watch these videos and who engage in this content, it would be nice if you guys would be careful and be mindful in how you handle people, particularly those of us that are not in the, the messy gossip or antagonistic type vibration world. And so when I come and sit down and talk to you guys for an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes, which that last video was, out of my time, it is obviously for the sake of content and what I do, but it's also to resonate and to radiate and to project the love frequency into the morphic field. And so I'm very conscientious and mindful of that when I sit down and when I engage with you guys, and even the type of topics that I choose to talk about, right? So yeah, it's an interesting thing to be on this end of the spectrum and see the expectations that come on the other side. It's an interesting thing. But I'm saying that to say, because I'm getting ready to address Robert Tran's questions directly, and I have a long history of addressing these questions directly. Since you want to be a smart aleck, once I finish laying out the things that I'm going to lay out, not just because I'm going to answer your question directly, but because I am intentionally invested and involved in assisting in raising the vibration and adding to the collective consciousness. I put my Cash App in the subject of this video. And so you can add something to the morphic field and increase my awareness and abundance frequency, especially because you've been disrespectful. And you can add something to the collective consciousness by adding something to me. How about that? So last video, I talked about the old models not working anymore, right? And wait, before I get into that, I always forget. I announced this like half-cocked in the last video, that I have a 5 for 5 special for my consultations. I'm not going to be doing one-on-one consultations anymore after 2024. This is going to be my last year of actually making myself available, where if you don't work with me in a one-on-one capacity, you can reach out, sign up for a one-on-one consultation. 2024, I am not going to be doing that anymore. 2025, I am going to be offering programs that people can work with me in a 90-day capacity. But in terms of just the one-on-ones, this is the last year that I'm going to be doing that. So I have the link in my description if you're interested in that, and listen to what it is that I have to say in this conversation and on all of my conversations, because this is the undercurrent, vibrational, the understanding of the underlying vibrational resonance, if you will, in how we live and experience the world, how we live and experience life. So at the source and at the root of it is always the same thing: how we're thinking, how we're feeling, how we're eating, how we're breathing, and how we're living. That's not my definition of what frequency is. That's my definition of what the human frequency, that vibration as it pertains to human beings and how we operate in the world. It is determined by those 5 things. But it's not limited to those 5 things, obviously, because everything that's around me is vibrating at a different frequency right now. Even if it's not moving, even if it's solid, it's all vibrating, right? Then you have the other people around you. Then you have the other forms of life in terms of organisms, in terms of plant life, wildlife, right? The oceans, the ecosystems of how this planet actually operates. It's all vibrating and radiating a frequency, right? So instead of just giving you guys the textbook definition of frequency, I'm going to give you multiple different mediums and textures of what I believe, not just what I believe, but what great minds, to this smart Alex point, great minds and great scientific minds, which I pride myself on having. Thank you very much. Have said and what they have brought to the table in terms of their research and their understanding. So the first thing I want to do is read the actual passage from The Hidden Messages in Water, which is what I originally planned. I wanted to read in terms of the morphic field, because the title morphic field is trending. People are talking about it. And I love that we're talking about these things. And I think that it's important for us to give people resources so that they can go back and actually study these things, research these things, make them tangible in their lives. So in the book, Masaru Emoto, this is an excellent book. If you haven't read it, you should. We just finished this book in my book club, in my membership channel. He says, Dr. Rupert Sheldrake of England is a researcher who focuses on furthering the understanding of a new worldview in association with this world that we cannot see. After receiving a doctorate in biochemistry from Cambridge University, he served as a lecturer in biochemistry and biology at Cambridge, while also serving as a fellow of the Royal Society. I just wanted to again, I wanted to reference that since, anyway, I digress. Dr. Sheldrake's theory is outlined in a book that he wrote more than 20 years ago, but the scientific journal Nature dismissed the book by saying that it should be burned. Despite this rejection, his theory reached the hearts of many, and research into his theory continues. What is it that drew so much attention? It's often said that if something happens twice, it will happen again. Perhaps you have found it strange that accidents and crimes tend to happen in series. Looking at history and social trends, you can see that over long periods of time, events do generally repeat themselves. How can we explain this strange repetition of events? Dr. Sheldrake attempted to use scientific means to find an answer. According to his theory, when the same thing repeats itself, a morphic field is formed, and resonance with this morphic field increases the likelihood that the event will happen again. A morphic field is not energy based information, but more like a blueprint for building a house. We can see this as an example of resonance theory. Dr. Sheldrake has proposed that events are also capable of resonating in the same way that sound resonates. He refers to the location where such events take place as the morphic field and the phenomena of repeated similar events as morphic resonance. Although his theory was quickly dismissed by nature, the announcement of his theory was taken seriously by the more open minded, resulting in serious discussion. There is no doubt that Dr. Sheldrake has departed from the existing paths laid out by science, but you have to admit that his theory goes a long way toward explaining mysteries that traditional science has been unable to deal with. Now I'm gonna bring this into real time and give some reference, some morphic, some examples of what I've seen as of late in terms of the morphic field. The train derailments. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we had train derailments taking place all across this country. Now, does the conspiracy theory element of me think that the powers that used to be had a hand in this, and perhaps there was some nefarious underlying agenda taking place? Absolutely. But do I also know that these same people understand how this morphic field works, and that if you can get the collective consciousness, the imprint of whatever it is you want to imprint on the minds of the collective consciousness, that they will actually manifest those type of events themselves, directly and indirectly? That's why I say Hollywood is social media's. I mean, Hollywood is Satan's vision board, because they know that if they can implant their program and their agenda onto the minds and the minds and the hearts, dealing with the emotional center of the masses, then it will actually, it's not just that it's predictive programming and they're training your subconscious mind so that when it happens, you don't rebel or you don't revolt. That's part of it, yes. But it's also that they are implanting this visual, this potential outcome, talking about the quantum element and endless possibilities, so to speak, the potential outcome, and then humanity in allowing that to be imprinted on their consciousness without understanding what's really taking place, without seeing the program. Humanity thereby manifests and or manifests and or creates, so it can be doing either or, meaning humanity accepts that a worldwide dystopia is taking place, i.e. iRobot, i.e. You guys know all the Contagion. What's the other Will Smith movie when he was by himself on the island? Was that iRobot? No, that wasn't iRobot. All of the thousands of movies that they put out over the years predicting this imminent doom, right? And so part of that is about implanting that in the subconscious mind of the masses, so that if and when it does happen, there is no revolution. That's a part of it. The other part of it is we put this out into the collective consciousness. They accept it as true, and then they use their energetic resonance as individuals and or the morphic field of the collective consciousness to actually create that reality. So you have the train derailment. Part of it is nefarious. Part of it is them playing with their toys, playing with their agenda, seeing how they can manipulate the minds of the masses. You have the bridge collapses, not the bridge collapse, the initial bridge in Maryland. And then subsequently, there have been like 5 other ones around the world. I've talked about it in my headline news episodes. You had the Waffle House a couple of years ago. I think this was actually during the pandemic, pandemic. When all of those fights were taking place at the Waffle House, remember that it was like back to back to back to back to back. You have the water girl situation in Oakland, and this is when the Karen concept took off, where the little girl was in Oakland by Lake Merritt. She was selling water, and the girl, the lady, the white chick, comes outside, calls the police, and is complaining because this little girl is selling. Was it okay? Was it water, or was it? I think it was black people at the lake. Actually, they were having a picnic, barbecue, whatever. Probably turned up, playing music. You know how we do. And she complained, called the police. It was a picture of her. She had the black glasses on. It was a whole thing that set off a chain and a ripple of events of what later became known as Karen. So yes, that's a multi-layered thing, because part of the Karen program, or the Karen frequency, so to speak, is that a lot of white women in America in particular have never really had to deal with any real time pressure and constraint and resistance, meaning social distancing, meaning you can't go where you want to go whenever you want to go, meaning that that what's the word is on the tip of my brain, that privilege that you're used to having when you go everywhere is no longer a reality, and now you're having to live in the same with the same experiences and deal with the same discomfort that a lot of other people were doing, that dealing with, usually are used to dealing with, had a ripple effect, right? So it's that, absolutely, but it's also the fact that when human beings, and now we have social media, so it just magnifies the vibration of whatever the vibration is, right? So now we have a whole new world of Karens that have taken the scene, and half the time they don't even understand what's going on. They don't even understand, just like, when we talk about, think about this in terms of slavery, right? Think about this in terms of 200, 300, 400 years of nonstop oppression and abuse, right? And then the natural sort of conversation, I heard somebody who's going to remain nameless. I watched a brief interview earlier today, and he was talking about slavery was a choice, agreeing with Kanye West, right? And so putting that point to the side, 200, 300, 400 years of nonstop abuse, family being sold off, raped, robbed, murdered, et cetera, et cetera. There's the physical reality of that, but then on a spiritual realm, the morphic field, the continuity of that experience and the trauma. When you talk about something happening in one place, and it increases the vibration and energy in that place or space or sport, right? Or professional career, if you will. So something happens in a place that creates a frequency and holds a frequency in a specific place for a period of time, to the point where now the possibility of that happening in that sport, in that genre, in that music industry, in that career field greatly increases. So imagine 200, 300, 400 years of that level of low vibrational energy and magnetic resonance being projected upon a people, not just the slaves, but the slave owners as well. Right. So yeah, it was a part of it was taking the chains off and doing whatever you had to do to be free. But there's also a continuity of vibration that has been, and probably for the most part still is, a lot of those places and spaces where those most traumatic experiences were taking place. This is why I have an issue with Nipsey Hussle's store right now, and for the last 3 years since I've been here. For sure, I've been here for 4 years now. So ever since I've been here, that building there, they have plans to tear it down and to build retail space as well as housing, right? So they have great plans for this space, but for the last 4 years that building has been boarded up with wood. It's very it's a, and obviously there's a density in that area because this man was a hero in Los Angeles, and that was his store. His vibrational resonance was strong there, right? He contributed and added a lot of value in that space, right? So it was strong there. And you're already dealing with an environment in that part of LA where there is a lack-based consciousness, where there's continuous suffering and poverty and death. So I feel like not honoring him in those spaces as a king and leaving some semblance of light in the meantime until the construction starts. They could have had artists come down, they could have put up plaster walls all around the building and just created beautiful art. They say, oh, well, they don't want the people to come over here, and it could cause a security issue. Yeah, but it could also raise the vibration. It could also, again, contribute to the morphic field, the energetic resonance that the local artists who love Nipsey, who love the culture, who love Black people, who love Black LA, come and contribute a love frequency and vibration to the environment. And who knows how many potential murders that could stop. When I talk about old world models not working anymore, I'm going to be putting up more content in alignment with what I'm talking about right now, because a brother left a comment. We had a great back and forth. I'm assuming it was a brother, if I remember correctly. And he was talking about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And he was saying, with all due respect, ZaZa, I know you love Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. I disagree with you because Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, had her whole sort of theology and theory was based around the race dichotomy, right? White genetic annihilation. And so he basically was just like, that's not true. And he left another comment talking about some other things. But what I want to say about that, and he's not one of the people that I represented in these comments, because we had a good back and forth, and it's all love. Dr. Welsing's theory on racism, white supremacy, which ties back to the color code theory by, y'all tell me the brother's name, it's on the tip of my tongue. You guys know him. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing always credits him. It'll come to me. But she was giving us an analysis and an awareness on how to see the world from the lens of white people. So when we talk about white genetic annihilation and how they're relating to the darker people of the world because they are afraid of being wiped out genetically, right? Which is what her whole theory was centered around, right? That's just their part of the story. That's just white perspective, and not all white people, but in the collective consciousness, right? They're seeing the world through their lens, seeing why the scientific world and the medical world and the spiritual world and the educational world, why in a world that is quote unquote run and controlled by white people or people of European descent, giving us a vantage point to see why they move and operate the way that they move and operate. But it's not the whole story. It's not the way God sees things. And that wasn't her intention. It's not the way the native and indigenous and original people see things. And again, that wasn't her intention, right? So when we talk about the concept of the race theory, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who I have so much love and respect for, provided us with a blueprint and a guideline, if you will, in order to understand why these people move the way they move and how that got us to the point where we are now. But it's not the full story, right? And so the results of white genetic annihilation are already taking place. We can see that with the statistics of Black and brown people. We can see that in terms of migration patterns, in terms of all this stuff with all these people from all these different places, South America, Central America, et cetera, coming here, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Africans, right? The native people who were already here. You got the Latino people, you got Asians, right? So just in terms of, I just want to say that because when I know it makes some people uncomfortable when I say we're moving beyond race-based consciousness. But don't you want to move beyond race-based consciousness? I don't think a lot of us would know we wouldn't know where to find ourselves without race-based consciousness, without and I'm gonna reframe that. When racism and white supremacy, quote unquote, end, a lot of the lack and fear-based consciousness that the original indigenous darker skinned people of the world feel will end as well. But that lack-based consciousness that we have has to end in order for racism, white supremacy to end. And that is the point that we're missing. Because again, when we talk about the spiritual sciences, when we talk about how consciousness creates reality, if you think about something long enough and you have a feeling and a vibrational resonance attached to that, however strong that feeling and vibrational resonance is what's creating reality. So for the dark skinned people, the brown skinned people of the world who are anti-racism, being anti anything magnifies whatever it is that you're anti. Now we can accept that on an individual level, right? We can accept that how you're thinking and feeling is creating your reality, right? We can, even though most of us maybe don't understand how that works or wish that we could really harness that energy and power, it's not working for us, whatever. But I think most of us can grasp that concept because we've all been in a place where I'm feeling good, things are going good for me, and then you feel good and you feel confident, and next thing you know, the ripple of good continues to flow, right? Whereas, when it rains, it pours. If you have a bad experience or if things aren't going well and you can't get out of that space, you look up and now you got, 10 more problems that have sort of expanded and expounded due to the original problem because we weren't able to get ourselves back in alignment, right? So when it rains, it pours, that sentiment. But on a collective, it's hard for us to fathom that all of the individuals make up a culmination of this morphic field. And in the book, he's only really talking about, in terms of the physical space, right? Something happening in a sports industry, something happening in a certain, in a certain room or in a certain city, right? In a certain environment. So he's conditioning it with the purpose that he's referencing here. And I'll go one further and say, and that's also confirmed in this book, just in different ways, that whatever the resonance that we are radiating individually, right, is creating a force field or a morphic field around us, an electromagnetic field, which I'm getting ready to show you guys a video in a second. And if we're radiating love and inspiration and invigoration, we are expecting good things to come to us. We're in the now, we're in the present. Our auric field, our energetic resonance is a lighter, brighter color. It's not dense. It's you can see the vibration in the pattern, right? As opposed to when you are bogged down with problems, when you are stressed, when you are worried, which is, by the way, creates cancer, creates fibroids, creates tumors, creates heart disease, creates what else? Neurological problems, all of the mucus that forms in the body. I said, Dr. Sebi said mucus is the cause of all disease. And I agree. And another way that I would say that it's the same thing, it's just a different sort of lens, is that lack of oxygen and proper oxygen flow in the body causes all disease. What causes lack of oxygen? Mucus, right? So in terms of the collective, what we're resonating, what we're radiating in terms of the individual, what we're resonating and radiating is affecting the people that are in our direct vicinity on one level. And then in terms of the frequency bandwidth and the mindset, it's affecting the collective conscious. So I want to show you guys this video real quick. I have two videos, just bear with me here. Stop screen. And I think this is the one.
At the California College of Acupuncture, a state-approved teaching institution, research is ongoing in the field of aura photography. Here, experimenters are trying to capture motion pictures of the energy body by sending high voltage through plants and humans. These are Kirlian movies of the sparks around 2 fingertips. The person on the right reported feeling agitated and angry. John Hubacher, one of the leading experimenters today.
When we take a Kirlian photograph of a living object, it will always change, changes very dynamically, very much like we expect the human aura to change. And we believe that these changes do accompany, in human beings, physiological changes, changes of the body, changes of our state of health. We find changes with emotional state. It's a very complex thing that we're just learning about. Kirlian photography doesn't necessarily photograph the aura. It may be photographing a component of the aura. The aura, as clairvoyants claim to see it, does extend out quite a distance from the body. So it's certainly not the aura that clairvoyants talk about, but it may be what they call the inner aura, or the etheric body, or the energy body, or, as we're trying to do research here at the California Acupuncture College, the system of acupuncture, chi energy in the body. This maybe is what we're really photographing with Kirlian photography.
Skeptics have claimed that Kirlian auras are nothing more than fancy sparks, until the startling phantom leaf experiment was performed by several independent investigators.
Ready to go?
A generating apparatus produces a controlled alternating current of 40,000 volts.
Can you make a longer spark?
Part of a still living leaf is cut away, and a Kirlian movie recorded. In this case, with a video image intensifier. The faint electric field can be seen and recorded only in total darkness. One would expect to see just the uncut part of the leaf, and that is usually the case. On rare occasions, however, the leaf seems to remember a ghost of the missing portion. Evidence for the first time that the physical body is not all there is to life. Alan Dietrich has a worldwide reputation for his phantom leaf ability. John Hubacher comments.
One of the problems with Kirlian photography and the phantom leaves is that work that we had done at UCLA and the work that we had heard about done in other countries, notably Russia, was that the experiment was not reproducible. This means that we would take phantoms, and at UCLA, for instance, we would get phantoms 1%, 2% of the time. They were very difficult to get. Alan had fabulous phantom leaves. He presented these at this New York conference, and he was getting them, how many say, 90% of the time? 95? This is a tremendous result, and so we were all very excited about his ability to generate these phantom leaves.
First time I did it, nobody ever said I couldn't do it, so I just went down and tried it. And I got it the very first time I tried it, so I've been working with it ever since. I haven't changed anything. So.
It seems that it may actually be Alan himself that can produce the effect, and this is typical with many types of experiments in parapsychology where the experimenter himself interacts with the experiment quite intimately.
The movie apparatus would not produce a complete phantom. Alan Dietrich continued all night with still film. Here are 2 of his successes. In each case, half a leaf produced a complete image. Kirlian photography is now being combined with the ancient Chinese art of acupuncture. Preliminary results hint at a link between Kirlian images and the meridians of acupuncture. Experiments with volunteers are ongoing.
The meridians on the feet, the lines of energy, tend to be fairly weak, so we don't expect a very strong discharge. Right now at the California Acupuncture College, that's exactly what we're trying to determine, whether the energy changes that are traditionally understood by acupuncture can be seen by Kirlian photography. Okay, lights, let's...
The feet show a slight imbalance.
Okay, this meridian here, as you see, the large intestine meridian, tends to be very full on the pulse, so we should see this stronger. And we've found out afterwards that there are some intestinal problems, so that corresponds again to the diagnosis. Okay, lights, let's see if the Kirlian...
The hands showed generally healthy meridians.
Being able to cause and being underlying.
Dr. Stephen Rosenblatt, president of the college.
The body's functioning depends on this energy flow. By changing the energy flow, we change the body's functioning. The Kirlian work, the reason it's so important and so critical is that it provides an independent measurement and photograph, an actual picture of what this energy flow that we've been talking about so long is like.
And kidney 3 on the left side.
Data is still being collected. Kirlian photos are taken of volunteers before and after the acupuncture.
These are strong points that stimulate what are called the yin meridians, which have appeared weak by the pulse diagnosis.
The procedure, by the way, is painless, and subjects rarely report any conscious awareness of a change.
To stimulate. Now we've had the needles in for a period of about 5 minutes. I'm putting a little bit of moxa right here on this point, which is an herb which will tend to stimulate the energy here. We should be finding that the left foot, when we take the Kirlian photograph, should be stronger than the right foot. Now we're lighting the moxa, and this should stimulate the meridians in.
Can the internal energy flow be altered and photographed?
Okay.
The extreme faintness of the Kirlian image requires total darkness, and film pushed to the extreme of sensitivity.
See if
The feet are now more in balance.
This again is the large intestine line that we determined there was a problem with the large intestine line. And so now we can have the lights and we can see if this side shows up a little more balanced than it did last time. We can make a comparison of the two. Okay, lights.
The aura around the fingers is stronger.
Because of the stress of the environment and other problems in modern life, the body is not perfectly healthy all the time, as we know. What acupuncture does is try and overcome some of these impediments, some of these blockages.
So I'm going to stop it there. So just to reiterate the point of what was just said in this video, which was a lot. And this is my this is the stuff that I'm interested in. I could research and study this all day because it's just so fascinating to me. The woman had a weaker auric field in terms of when they put her body underneath the light and did this, this photographic image. So you could see that it was weaker in the original photos, and then after using acupuncture or acupressure and placing needles in specific areas of the body, meridian points within the body, that it opened up the energy and let the energy flow through the body, and all of a sudden now her auric field, which is what those pictures represent, has increased, right? So this is how all of these things, when we talk about vibration, frequency, resonance, morphic field, energy, all that type of stuff, this is how this relates to all of us as individuals, because each one of us has an electromagnetic field. We're always radiating and resonating energy. It pains me when I hear people say, in order to get the law of attraction to work for you, you have to do ... No, the law of attraction is always working. It's either giving you more of what you want or more of what you don't want, or more of what you are or more of where you are. And it depends on how strong your signal is. Those images that we just saw on the screen are representations of how strong this woman's signal is, right? And then the acupressure and the needles going in and opening up the energy centers within the body makes her signal stronger. You want it proof, smart Alec. You guys, you want to test me and play games with me like I'm just coming on here half cocked, like I don't know what I'm talking about. Stop it. I do appreciate it though, because I'm always I'm always up for a good spar. By the way, please like this video. I always forget this, and I actually wrote a note to myself, because when I'm when I'm in these spaces, I'm just talking and doing whatever or trying to make my point. But please like the video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Yeah, and thank you guys. Thank you for the Cash App, that person who just sent it to me, and thank you guys that actually, you know, support and value what I do. Because yeah, we're the goal right now. Again, the old model is not working, so shifting the focus, shifting where we are in our consciousness, and opening up our minds. Going back to the whole point of the morphic field, once we see somebody else can do it, once we see that it's possible, opening up our minds now, and now the universe is facilitating things outside of us because we're radiating a stronger signal. This is an act, pardon the sound on this. This is an old video. I played this in videos before, but it's relative. This is an actual audio recording of a human aura in a bioenergy field. This auric field is documented in a laboratory that recorded the yellow and green frequencies in the energy field.
The following film shows the human energy field radiating outward from the body. It dynamically changes based on the physical conditions, the feeling states, the motivations of the person, in interaction with energy radiation from objects and living things. The existence of the human energy field, or the aura, was validated and studied by over 12 years of high-frequency recordings. This film shows the field not ordinarily seen, but now visible. Like all living things, this little dog has a sizable radiant field, even when he sits quietly. Notice now, as he greets his master, the obvious love and affection between them increases the dynamic radiation from their bodies, even the dog's tail and the man's head. No wonder so many people have pets who give them pleasure and provide a vital field of energy to interact with. Wherever there is motion in the universe, there is increased flow in the field that humans interact with. See the explosive activity from the waves and from his body. Also, the electromagnetic field of the body is negatively charged or ionized, as are waves or tumbling water, which further expands and heightens his field, giving a physical exuberance and emotional excitement.
Now, this is another representation of the morphic field right here. Pardon me for stopping the video. I just wanted to make this point. You can see the energy around him and the strong magnetic field and radiation that is interacting with the negative ions, which is one of the benefits of being at the beach, that you are constantly taking in and processing and downloading and engaging, if you will. That's not the word, but whatever. With negative ions, right? So you have the sun, you have the frequency and the resonance of the water, which is all constantly moving, right? You have the sand, you have the grounding, you have the beauty of being in nature, the beauty of being away from cell phone towers and things that are, you know, disrupting frequencies, our electromagnetic field. So you can see this very strong resonance and radiance around this man's body. It is his electromagnetic field also engaging with the morphic field or the electromagnetic resonance of the beach environment around him.
No wonder that a day at the beach is so exhilarating and vitalizing. We all love a babbling brook and the freshness of outdoor vegetation and mountains. Most of us believe that it is relaxation and beauty which refreshes us. From our research, we have discovered that living plants and rarefied atmosphere provide a richer field of negative ions, which heightens and replenishes our own energy field. Notice that the man's field becomes light in color and high in frequency. It sparkles and radiates some distance from his body. See that as the child moves into the mother's field, the affection between them changes the overall field to a pink color Individuals' fields blend and enhance when there is a warm, caring relationship. These energy fields are the largest and the whitest that we have shown. She is oming. On the breath inhalation, the radiant field diminishes, and on exhalation, it expands and envelops the child. We have known for a long time that Gregorian chants, oming, humming, singing, and whistling create an energy which perks up emotions and brings an expanded consciousness.
Much love for the Cash App. I appreciate you. And let me just bring myself back up. Actually, let me share my screen. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about from that video. The first thing is you see the vibrational resonance of the woman when she is with her child, and the two sort of co-mingling of those energies that takes place. Originally you can kind of see them separate, and then you see them come together and blend. And then as she's in that meditative stance and she's breathing in and breathing out Om, which is a correlation to the vibrational resonance of the frequency of the planet, right? So again, that's another perfect example. All of those images that we just saw of the individual electromagnetic or auric field or frequency and vibration, right? And then interacting with another child, interacting with the dog, right? Magnifies the energy. So whatever your dominant vibration, whatever you are, consistently radiating, right? Some people are happy all the time. Some people are miserable all the time. Some people it's give and take, right? But what is the continuity of your vibrational resonance? And if you start to think about that and process that, it'll make sense why you have the type of relationship you have with your boss at your job. And it'll make sense the inability to communicate with your husband or with your spouse. It'll make sense why you are not able to get through to your child. It'll make sense why, the money is stagnant and not flowing because of the way you talk about money and think about money to yourself, et cetera, et cetera. It all starts and ends within. So in the video, she references that the auric field changes. The auric field is made up of or impacts physical changes, feeling states or emotions, motivation, object radiation, which you could see that taking place between her and, I'm going to say, no, I won't say that. I'll say object radiation. Okay, so an example of that in Divine Matrix, the Divine Matrix, Greg Brayton references a client that he had who was having a real knockdown, drag out fight with her boyfriend. And they have been fighting all day long. And then all of a sudden the pipes burst in the basement. Now, and there's more to the story, but I'm totally summing this up. His point was in sort of going back through the day and what happened between them, that the very strong frequency of anger and frustration and what was taking place in the household dynamic absolutely can cause a ripple effect and affect things that are happening in your house. I know, and in your car and in your physical environment. I know for some people that's far-fetched because I've actually proven that in my own life. It's happened to me. I know when my energy, if I'm upset or I'm angry or I'm frustrated about something, I have to check in with myself because I know it will cause something to happen. With a stranger, random incident, whether I, hurt myself, bumping my knee on something, it could be a chance thing, but more than likely there's something else going on. There's always a deeper aspect to these things, right? So in terms of the living radiation, you can see the relationship between the mother and the child, right? So you're radiating a vibration that is affecting the people around you. Another example that Greg Brayton gave in that book was when his mother went to the doctor and they found liver spots. They found spots on her liver. And so, she wasn't thinking anything of it. She was just telling him about the diagnosis. And he asked about the dog because she has a dog that she's, was very beloved to her. And so he told her to go to the vet and get the dog checked. The dog had the exact same liver spots as the owner, his mother, right? And so Greg Brayton, understanding how the morphic field works, how the, energetic field works, how we're rippling energy all the time based on our vibration, knew that there was a high probability that it either started with the dog and affected her, or started with her and affected the dog. And most likely it started with her, because obviously the human is going to be the dominant vibration, right? And so physical changes, feeling states, motivation, object radiation, and living radiation affect your auric field. They affect how strong your signal is. They affect how vibrant your frequency is. They affect if you are, if you are in a space where you're looking for the love of your life, and you meet somebody that has 4 qualities, and you have 10 on your list and he has 4 of those qualities. So you settle for the 4 qualities because you don't think you're ever going to find somebody that has 10. But the reason why you met the guy with only the 4 qualities is because you don't really think you're going to meet the guy who has 10. Now, obviously, I'm not on no surface level, don't play with me, talking about a guy who, based on his, if he can buy you, if he can get the bag and buy you a Birkin bag. I'm not talking about surface level type stuff. We're talking about vibrational resonance. We're talking about how you think, feel, eat, breathe, and live. We're talking about your capacity and propensity for love, to experience love, to give love, to radiate love, to vibrate love, to find a connection and a match with love. So in the morphic field, or the collective consciousness, there's so much negative conversation centered around relationships. There's so much negative energy. That's why I don't talk about it on my platforms, because I'm not trying to be on that frequency with you guys. Sorry. There's so much negative energy. And so you have downloaded, the culture has downloaded the sentiment in the minds of, let's say, women in particular, that they're going to have to settle for that 4 instead of that 10. Because there's only ... Because ... All of the reasons. Basically training and ingraining in you that you have to settle. Or that God is not wise and abundant and omnipresent enough to know that if you are aspiring to meet those 10 goals within yourself, that there should be an equally yoked man somewhere in the world right now practicing to have those same 10 qualities within himself to meet you when you guys are aligned in frequency and resonance. That's where I'm at with it. That's why I don't talk about it, because y'all call me a pseudoscientist. So this is why they're pumping the celebrity culture in the morphic field so heavy, in the electromagnetic resonance, because they control those people. By controlling them, they can control the masses. So one of the things, this is from my Keys to Womanhood workbook. This is a page on oxygen and life force energy. And you guys that have been following me for some time, I've been talking about this forever. When we talk about chi, prana, life force energy, that auric field, that resonance that you see coming off of those people, how if it's a strong, high vibrational resonance and it's powerful and it looks powerful versus it looks dull, right? The first images in the pictures that they were doing versus the pictures afterwards, where they did the acupressure and opened up her energy centers, and now the energy is flowing through. Now her resonance is strong, right? Looking at what do they call it? The phantom leaf, and how they cut a piece of a leaf off and then they put it under this microscopic imagery, and they can see the electromagnetic resonance, the energy field of the plant. But it's not just the plant that's remaining after it's cut, it's also the piece that was cut with it. The energetic signature is still there. And so the original guy who started this said he was only getting success, I think he said 20 to 30% of the time. But the second guy, what was his name? Ralph? He was getting it 90% of the time. Why? Because he never had a failed study before. Because he never had any reason to suspect that he wasn't going to see it every time. So his vibrational resonance, his energetic resonance, was aligned in such a way that he was able to see the electromagnetic field of the plant, not just the plant that was there, but the part of the plant that was no longer there. at a 90% ratio versus somebody who was not having success continuously, so got used to not having success continually. So his energetic resonance or his intention was, I'm probably only going to get success 20 to 30% of the time. He accepted that as truth, and then it became truth. Now, this is talking about things, right, that are outside of us, but I want to keep underscoring the point that all of these things are 1000% relative to each and every one of us as an individual. If you're stressed out, depressed, and living in anxiety, you are emitting a frequency. If you're in love and feeling on top of the world and in a good space and abundance is coming you from every different direction, then that's what you're radiating. Thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you. So chi and life force energy. You know, I'm always talking about yoga, always talking about breath. People say, where do we start? Where do I start? Start with your breathing. Because now we have a correlation in terms of the images that we just saw from multiple different vantage points. Now we have a visual in our mind's eye that we can tap to and understand that if you don't have a healthy relationship with your breath, which is also another way of going in and cleaning out the energy centers. It does the same thing that acupressure does, just in a less intrusive way. It's the whole point of the breathing apparatus to clean out your bloodstream. One of the first lessons, this is from the science of breath, in the yogi science of breath, is to learn how to breathe through the nostrils and to overcome the common practice of mouth breathing. You guys have been watching me for a long time. You probably heard me read this comment a lot of times, but I'm going to read it again because it's very relative. We think that we're in a time now where being is the sentiment. Being present, still, mindful, observant, visionaries, all the things that take place within, all the things that have to be cultivated within. Children permitted to breathe in this way grow up with impaired vitality and weakened constitutions, and in manhood and womanhood break down and suffer chronic illness. Many contagious diseases are contracted by the habit of mouth breathing, and many cases of cold and catarrhal infections are also attributable to the same cause. The organs of respirations have their only protective apparatus filter or dust catcher in the nostrils. When the breath is taken from the mouth, there is nothing from mouth to lungs to strain the air or to catch the dust and other foreign matter in the air. From mouth to lungs, the dirt or impure substance has a clear track, and the entire respiratory system is unprotected. Moreover, such incorrect breathing admits cold air to the organs, thereby injuring them. Inflammation of the respiratory organs often results from the inhalation of cold air through the mouth. The man who breathes through the mouth at night always awakens with a parched feeling in the mouth and a dryness in the throat. He is violating one of nature's laws and is sowing the seeds of disease. Remember that the mouth affords no protection to the respiratory organs, and the cold air, dust, impurities, and germs readily enter by that door. On the other hand, the nostrils and nasal passages show evidence of the careful design of nature in this respect. The nostrils are two narrow, tortuous channels containing numerous bristly hairs, which serve the purpose of a filter or sleeve to strain the air of its impurities, which are expelled when the breath is exhaled. Not only do the nostrils serve this important purpose, but they also perform an important function in warming the air inhaled. The long, narrow, winding nostrils are filled with warm mucous membrane, which coming in contact with the inhaled air, warm it so that you do not do damage to the delicate organs of the throat or the lungs. So again, Yogi Ramacharaka is emphasizing breathing in through the nose, because the nose is a filtering apparatus, and then only breathing out of the mouth. And if you practice yoga, you know that that's basically a rule of thumb, right? So there's that aspect. And then again, the life force energy, the chi, the prana, the images we see with the auric fields, the images we see of the images, having a proper healthy relationship with your breathing increases your electromagnetic field. Having clean blood flowing through your body increases the vitality of your signal. Having a body that is not filled with poison and mucus and toxins increases the vitality of your electromagnetic field. If you're eating Popeyes and Church's chicken and all of this other food that does it's not even living food anymore. It's not adding any value, any nutritional substance to strengthen your electromagnetic field, your auric field. The pH scale, this is also from my Keys to Womanhood workbook. I put a whole workbook together, 140 pages of content for girls and women that are centered around the metaphysics of the self, the human body, the brain, the emotions, right? So the pH scale is your body's sort of, how should I explain it? It's the way that your body measures how healthy you are versus not healthy, right? Acidic versus alkaline. So being in the center is the neutral scale. Then you have the acidic and the alkaline portions of the scale, right? And so being right in that central place is the focal point. And so based on what you eat, as you can see the image on the bottom, I'm looking at my monitor behind my monitor. So alkaline foods versus mucus forming foods, right? All of this stuff is relative to your electromagnetic field. Yes, you can eat whatever you want. You say, I eat what I want. I'm never stopping eating meat. I'm never stopping eating. Okay, eat whatever you want. Just understand that your body is going to be more dense. And it's a physical body. It's a physical, right? Based on how much weight you have, but then it's also based on how much weight, quote unquote, is on you, is percolating on your internal body, in your internal body. So that includes the food and how much your body has to do to break down and process this food and then eventually release it. But that also includes the emotional strain that a lot of women carry in their hips. A lot of the stress and the anxiety that we carry in our face, that we carry in our jaws, the weight and strain that we carry in our shoulders and in our upper back and in our lower back, all of those, when you have chronic pain in your body, that is energy that is stuck in a certain part of your body that needs to be released so that it can flow. The more energy you have stuck in different parts of your body, cancer, tumor, fibroids, et cetera, then the more dense you are, the weaker your vibrational resonance, the weaker your signal. It's all relative. Like Abraham Hicks said, human beings are the only beings on earth that can choose slavery. You can choose slavery. You can choose a weak signal. Thank you for the cash app. I appreciate you. So fasting, I'm always talking about fasting. I'm always fasting. We talk about being mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically fortified in this hour. Along with breathing, fasting would be number 2. And the only reason why I'm not saying fasting as number 1 is because I know a lot of people don't have the willpower and the bandwidth to fast. And I don't even want to say that like I'm projecting negativity on people. It's just fasting, whether you do a juice fast, a water fast, a raw food fast, etc. Right now is the time to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically fortifying ourselves. Eating to live, obviously, organic, conventional. I kind of felt like I don't need to say this, but this is again for my Keys to Womanhood workbook, and I just want to emphasize, because it's always like, okay, all that stuff sounds good, but what do we do? How do we start this? Like, eat to live, fast, work on your breathing regimens, spend time outside in nature, make sure you're getting sun, make sure you're drinking water that, as close to spring water as you can actually get it. Don't drink tap water under any circumstances, especially if you live in America. So let me come back to my notes so I don't forget anything. Fork tunes. Let me bring myself up because now I think you guys can see me. Oh, wrong screen. Okay. Fork tunes, music bowls, drums, frequency music, These are all things and tools that we can all use to strengthen our our electromagnetic field, our signal, our vibrational resonance. Now, if you're one of those Christians who thinks that anything that's not written in the Bible is not um, is demonic. I get a lot of those comments from people when I talk about yoga. Then I'm not really sure how you got to this page in the first place, because crystals have a vibrational resonance, and fork tunes and music bowls and sounds and frequencies. Everything has a vibrational resonance. So the Bible, depending on which book you're holding, depending on the energy that you've poured into it, the love or the frustration that you've poured into it, is holding a vibrational resonance, right? So all of those things strengthen the electromagnetic field of the individual. Everything that I just talked about, the morphic field, being a tree hugger. I can't imagine why, if going to the beach and taking in the negative ions increases the electromagnetic field. I feel like if I hug a tree, I should be getting some type of download. That's the intention that I'm setting as I'm moving out in the world, right? These people are, I was making a point about Satan being Hollywood's vision board, and how these people are doing mass energy harnessing right now with this Diddy situation, with so many different things. But it's like, okay, so then can I harness the energy of a tree? If you found a way to harness the energy of 500 billion or 500 million people or 8 billion people or 2 million people by putting out a movie that they're going to go back and sit for 2.5 hours and eat that genetically modified popcorn and drink that Coca-Cola and Pepsi that probably has nanotechnology in it at this point. Hope you guys are aware of that. If you can affect their vibrational resonance and harness their energy, then I'm just trying to hug as many trees as I possibly can. You see what I'm saying? Have you thought of the idea? Coming back to my notes now, because I'm getting ready to close, and I didn't mean to talk this long, but it's all good. Have you conscientiously thought about choosing your energetic field? Go back to the video. Remember the guy standing out by the beach. Actually, you know what? We'll just play it. I'll turn the volume down though. So choosing your energetic field, even setting the intention. Most of us aren't even thinking like that. What do I want my electromagnetic field to look like? What do I want the people that come in contact with me to experience through my energetic field? I've been talking in my membership channel, and by the way, I do have a whole membership channel where I do this type of content, in-depth analysis and metaphysics type teaching and headline news and book club, and this is what I do on my channel. For those of you guys that are like, why aren't you putting up content? I do put up content. I just do it in that medium. And you can get information on that in the description as well. I think I put the link for that as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, all of that good stuff. Choosing your energetic field, choosing the vibrational resonance, choosing how you want to radiate in the world, determining you want to be on the love frequency, the abundance frequency, et cetera, et cetera. That's where we are at this point. So when I'm saying the old model is not working, and I'm probably going to do a whole video on that, because that concept has just been repeating itself in so many different ways. This is one thing I know. If you are striving, listen to me, guys, because this is critical right now. And I know if you're watching this content that we're aligned in one way or another. We maybe aren't agree on everything, or maybe in different states of consciousness. But I know if you're here, we're aligned somewhere, because frequency and vibration, that's not sexy. People aren't tuning in to talk about that type of stuff, right? But this is all I think about. So what was my point? Damn it. Choosing your energetic field was the first thing I said. Oh, it was good too. I saw this note for a Tibetan stupa, and it made me think about something. The Tibetan stupa and the pyramids. I'm going to come back to that. But now I lost my train of thought. Okay. Let me come back to it. looking at my notes. Choosing your energetic field. Okay, I guess it'll come back to me. Um, oh, the old model not working. Okay, stay tuned. Stay focused, Zaza, in my Tabitha Brown voice. Okay. For those of us who are striving to be in alignment, if you're striving to, to be in this world and not of this world, to be, sort of centered, to be, thank you for the cash app, I appreciate you, to be, vibrating the love frequency. I know because I've seen this so many times, there's a different level of pressure, and I'm going to use the word struggle for lack of a better word, but we're going through a different level of trial and tribulations right now. And I'm pretty sure I said this in the last video, but like things that used to work aren't working anymore. That's in the collective consciousness, but then that's also on individual levels, because I talk to clients, sometimes 5, 6 clients a week. I'm constantly monitoring what's going on in the collective consciousness. I'm, and as well as the people who I'm connected to, who are sovereign minded, who are spiritually focused, who are, striving to walk in Christ consciousness, not trying to be in the turn up and all of the madness and chaos. They're internally focused and having difficulty right now. Difficulty breaking through, difficulty pushing forward without compromising integrity, etc. I know this for a fact. I'm not saying this for everybody, but I'm saying this is a real thing right now. So that concept of the old world models not working anymore, right? Meaning the ways that we used to do things or react to things, or, just sort of push forward, chin out, chest up, you got to suck it in and keep moving forward, pause. Well, yeah, that's a common consensus, not just in Black families, but like everybody's like chin out, chest up, get out there and get it done. But for people who are striving for spiritual alignment and spiritual awareness, it's becoming more and more difficult to do that. There's a lesson in that, because it's not just me as an individual or me and 1 or 2 people. No, it's a really serious thing right now. We're being upgraded. We're being fortified, and you could say through the fire, depending on the how big the other end of the spectrum is for you. Because whatever the difficulty factor is, I'm gonna keep this video playing in the background because it just hones in on my point. Whatever the difficulty factor is happening in your life right now, and the circumstances of your life, is a replica of the other end of the spectrum, in terms of how abundant and how beautiful and how limitless your life can be, depending on the circumstances and the severity or the difficulty factor that you're experiencing right now. So there's even a blessing in that. It doesn't sound, when you're in it, it's not the best thing, but I'm saying that to say, recognize when the old model is not working anymore. Because if you keep bumping your head up against the wall and you keep trying to fit a square into a round circle, or a round circle into a square, and it's not working, and you keep trying to repeat the patterns, and you're used to just doing things a certain type of way, and this is just the way I am, but now doors that used to be open for you are no longer open, and things that used to be simple and easy aren't flowing anymore. The universe is talking to you. See, this is not just a one-way transmission where we are expressing energy, right? Where we are giving to the universe, where we are engaging and interacting with nature, where we are sending out a signal and a frequency that's being interpreted or translated by God or Allah or soul, source energy or universe, whatever concept you prefer. I'm good with them all. It's also that energy, that consciousness, that awareness is interacting and engaging with us. So how we think matters, how we feel matters, how we're operating in the world matters. If you hate your job, it matters. If you're in a miserable relationship, it matters. If you have goals and aspirations that you forgot about and denied because you've been sacrificing and suffering and struggling, it matters. We've got developed this relationship with God through religion where we think that we only matter if we're in obedience, quote unquote. If we're, in fear. I never understood that concept of fearing God. You know, if we're in these sort of submissive spaces of consciousness, and by all means, part of living is submission, not just for women, by the way. Part of being on the earth is being in a physical suit, third dimensional reality is submission. We're all in submission in one sense or another. But then it's also, you love God, you pray to God, you meditate to God, you appreciate nature, you value the importance of human connection, you value the ecosystem of the planet, you value all of the beautiful things that God has bestowed upon us to be of service, to add value, to do good, to be good. But it's a reciprocal relationship. We miss the reciprocity because the reciprocity comes through our vibrational resonance. And what you are emitting and what you are expressing and what you are giving and what you are creating is adding unto that electromagnetic field, the morphic field, the energetic resonance, all the stuff that we just watched in the videos. It's increasing a signal, it's emitting a signal, and then it's determining how and when and why your prayers get answered, how soon they get answered. Like I said before, you only believe, you settle for a man that has 4 out of 10, and the numbers are just semantics, 4 out of 10 of the qualities that you're looking for, because you believe that there's no men in the world that have 10 of the 10 qualities that you're looking for, because everything in the world is reminding you that there are no men who have ... And it's really, I think men should stop doing that to yourselves. You sell yourself short. You're really deranking your brothers in the struggle by talking about the horrible conditions of men of the world. You are projecting a self-fulfilling prophecy for a continuity of weak men in the auric field of manhood. Morphic field of manhood. That sounds better. You should stop doing that to yourself. You think it's only projecting negativity on women, but it's really projecting negativity on your sons. It's really projecting negativity on your brothers and your grandfather and your uncles and all of the men that engage and interact in this reality. Same thing for women. Same exact thing. You know, I'm an equal opportunity gender expressionist. Pause, no diddy, all that good stuff. I'm just as pro-man as I am pro-woman. So again, watching the energetic field and this dance that's taking place between this man and his dog, and as the love frequency vibration increases, the auric field around him increases. Love is the key. Love is the key. Love is the key. And it's not just connecting with animals and our loved ones and human beings. It's also interacting with nature. Look at how large his electromagnetic field is around him. The aura around his body. He's dancing energetically with the negative ions in the atmosphere. He's dancing energetically with the, what is it called? Kinesthetic energy, kinesiology. Don't quote me. Kinesiology? Kinesiology is a study. It's kinetic energy. The kinetic energy of the water moving, the kinetic energy of the physical body, the kinetic energy of the song and dance between being in nature, movement, the sun, etc. So imagine what this would look like if there was 50 people in this room with me and everybody is radiating their own energy. And we're all downloading information and transferring data. And it depends on how strong your force field is, how strong your electromagnetic energy is, that determines what you download energetically and what you repel energetically. What's frequency? How we think, how we feel, how we eat, how we breathe, how we live. How we think, how we feel, how we eat, how we breathe, how we live. This is the last thing I'm going to say. And I saw somebody in the consultation said they need a consultation with me. I saw somebody in the comments say they need a consultation with me. Well, you should hit me up. I'm only, after 2024, I'm not going to be doing them anymore. I'm serious. And I'm saying that 2024, I shouldn't say it. It's a bad way to respond to you. But I'm just going back to something I said before. It's all good. It's all love. The Tibetan stupa, the pyramids in Kemet. Is that my brother Ish? Peace to the guy. What's up? How you been? Ishmael Bey. How you doing, my brother? Okay. Tibetan stupa, pyramids in Kemet. Different, and I have a video on my membership channel. I should have showed it, but it talks about how these temples, the obelisk as well, these temples and these architectural anomalies, if you will, were created in such a way and patterned in such a way that they held a vibrational resonance, a certain frequency, and that the people that lived in close proximity to the pyramids, to the Tibetan stupas, to these different churches and institutions, Buddhist temples, etc., around the world, that the people who lived in close proximity to these buildings have a very strong immune system, that they don't get sick. It's because of the materials, whether it's gold, whether it's marble, whether it's in Kemet, they used it's a mixture of silver and gold. It's called electrum, I think. It's in my textbook. Electrum, I think it's called. But it's a blend of silver and gold. So they were already doing alchemy. They were already playing with alchemy and learning how to use the natural resources, whether it's of the elements, whether it's of nature, whether it's of, the respect and reverence that they have for animals, right? All of these different things, all of this is about your electromagnetic field, your vibrational resonance, how you think, how you feel, how you eat, how you breathe, how you live. So my question for us is, as we shape and fashion our homes, our environments where we sleep, we have Wi-Fi routers, we have cell phone towers in close proximity that are emitting dangerous levels of frequency. We have cell phones and computers laying next to us while we're sleeping at night, when the whole process of the sleeping and the serotonin and all of that stuff is so important. And now that process is being hampered with frequency. How many of us are fortifying ourselves in terms of crystals, in terms of copper, in terms of tuning forks, in terms of music bowls? And again, if you're one of those people who thinks those things are demonic because it's not in the Bible, this page is probably not for you. So don't comment with that, please. You see what's happening on the screen here. You can see this. This is real time. I'm talking to the collective conscious, and I understand that there is a lot of stress, anxiety, worry, fear, depression in the collective consciousness. That's why I'm doing this video, because it matters. This is not just oh, I'm out for myself, it's only about me. Nah, I'm living in this world with you guys. We need the light bearers, the energy stabilizers, the grid stabilizers, the people that have the courage and conviction to step up to what this moment is demanding and commanding of us. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thank you so much. I didn't get a chance to read the chats, but I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I will go back and read them after I turn the video off and catch my breath. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for checking in with me. I referenced the 5 for 5. It'll be in the description. I have one spot open. When it's gone, it's gone. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace and love.